Anyway, good afternoon or good evening, wherever you happen to be. It's 7 o'clock here on the East Coast. So for those that may be new, I'm Bob Wagner, and this is our fast start training that we do Monday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. Couple things I want to go over. It was LVA weekend in 6 cities. 5 or 6 of them were live, and then we had the virtual coming out of Utah. I heard fabulous things about the virtual one and the job that Brandon Cunningham did. And you know, we've gotten to know Brandon and Lynette a little bit over the 4 years we've been in the business, and I've never seen him not do a good job. So that does not surprise me at all. You know, I just heard he did a good job. So kind of like I don't recommend this if you don't speak and present on a regular basis, but he kind of threw the notes out the window and just winged it for 4 hours. And, you know, it's not advised, but sometimes your heart tells you what you should be doing and you just follow your heart. So, but I heard great things about it. So I'm glad it was helpful to all of you. We had a great time in Orlando and very appreciative of the group that was there. And we just had the best audience. Very, very into it. And, you know, if you've ever spoken in front of a room, or if you're a presenter or you know, done anything like that, you know, you give out a lot of energy in doing it, whether it's for a half hour, or in this case for 4 hours. But, you know, it helps tremendously if the audience is giving it back. And what I mean by giving it back, they get the energy, they act on it, they get enthusiastic, excited, and they interact with you and they give it back. And man, when you got that scenario going on where the audience into it and the presenters into it and you're going back and forth, it's a recipe for success. I mean, that's just how it works. So anyway, it was great. But you know, the key to what you learned on Saturday, whether you were at an LVA somewhere around the country in person or you're watching it virtually, is to apply it immediately and not think about it or chew on it for a while. And that's in this business, and I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about that. Before I forget, make note of this. April's going to do the training next Monday for us, okay, the 7 o'clock. And she's going to talk about your phone skills, developing phone skills, and how to talk on the phone. And don't laugh at that, because that is a lost art in a lot of cases. Okay, it's, you know, I know there's a million different ways that we communicate with each other now, but nothing will ever replace face-to-face, you know, physically in person. That is still number one. The phone is still number two. Everything else can fight for number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, everything else, but those two will not change, and that's because we're human, and human beings need interaction with each other. We feed off it, we live off it. Okay, so she's going to go into just how she handles the phone. I have the privilege of listening to her all day long. Okay, she's a couple stories up from me. I'm either on the middle floor or the basement, but she's up on the 3rd floor. But I hear most of her conversations just like she hears mine, and she's as good as it gets with her phone skills. And here's the secret. Okay, you'll hear many secrets, but here's the secret. She listens more than she talks. Okay. And when she talks, what she says has meaning. There's a purpose for it. It's not just chit chat. Okay. She's probably the best listener I've ever met in my life. And everything that, you know, is funny. We were at our local dive, I call it. It's a local watering hole down on the river. And, you know, only the locals know about it. Okay. But it's the coolest place on the planet. And they had a one-man band there playing, and he does a lot of 70s, 80s stuff, which we love. Okay. And when he was done, he played from 2 to 6. I had an extra beer in my bucket that I hadn't drank, and I just asked the waitress, you know, to give it away. And she said, can I just give it to Homer? The guy playing, his name was Homer. And I said, absolutely. He came over and spent a half hour talking with us after he was done. We had never met him before, but we're going to come every other week when we see him, because he was just fantastic. He was so interactive with the audience. Just what I was saying. Imagine he was the presenter. The people that, at the tiki hut, the bar, the pub, whatever, they were the audience. Okay. And the interaction back and forth was priceless. Okay. Well, when you're speaking professionally for business, it's the same thing. Okay. The person in the front of the room, whether it's somebody singing, somebody playing, somebody sharing business experience, whatever it is, they're only going to be as good as their audience gives back. So please, if you're ever in an audience, give back. Okay, you'll get more out of the person speaking if you give back and acknowledge and stuff. And we had the best audience in Orlando. They were freaking great. Okay, and and it don't take much to egg me on. Okay, you can light my hair on fire real early and get me going for the day, and by egging me on with the interaction, and it was just phenomenal. So but she's going to do a phone training next week. So mark that on your calendars, tell your team. Okay. And like I said, for 30 years, I've heard her on the phone with people. And sometimes, 10 minutes can go by and about all I hear her say is, uh-huh, or yeah, or I know, and nothing else. And she is just listening and listening and listening. And when she says something, it has tremendous value to whoever is on the other end of the phone, because they dumped on her, they unloaded, they aired it all out. They told her everything in the world that she needed to know to be able to show them how this business could be helpful, or the product could be helpful, or that she could be helpful. Okay. And, so Mark, you don't want to miss that. We'll record it, but it's always better live. So a couple other things. We have our launch Zoom, okay, which to me, that's one of two very important revenue producing events during the month. We had one on the 9th, and then Wednesday, the 23rd. That is a revenue producing activity. Now we do look, all of our activity in the business, we hope someday produces revenue, okay? But some of it's follow-up, some of it's training, some of it's just dialogue, some of it's just another touch, but there's certain events, there's certain things on the schedule that are revenue producing. They are brick building things. Okay. You're putting bricks on your foundation of your business that could last a lifetime. And whenever there's a launch Zoom or an opportunity presentation or an LVA or a training for the business, those are revenue producing. Okay. And not only are they revenue producing, but they're the most duplicatable part of the business. And we all want our teams to duplicate. Okay. That's what we want. We want to first get involved. We then want to build a team, and then we want the team to duplicate. Okay. I think I saw Cindy on here. It was really cool. April's grown very fond of Cindy over the last couple of months since she's been in the business. But what's really neat is I'm watching a person learn. Okay. I'm not watching, I'm listening. Okay. I'm hearing the phone calls and stuff. But what was really neat is Cindy's friend joined the business yesterday and got her first customer today. See, that's duplication. Okay. And that was a satisfied customer that came in the business that then got a customer right away. And those are good revenue producing things. But what I get excited about that shows me duplication too. The person was a sold customer already, got in the business, and then immediately got someone else on the product. And again, we never know what anybody's going to do, but getting back to Wednesday night, that's revenue producing. So that means between now and Wednesday night, the most important thing that we could be doing, it supersedes any training, any course, anything that we have on our schedule. That event supersedes. Okay. So the most important thing that you and I can do tonight, tomorrow night, and all day Wednesday up to 8:30 Wednesday night is to get people committed and confirmed to be on the launch. Okay. There is nothing more important than that. Okay. That's one of the two nights I talked about Saturday. Okay. Either being at or watching virtually on Saturday. That's a revenue producing thing. Okay, very important. Okay, if When that ended, you began applying what you learned. Now, if you decided to be a procrastinator and think about it and not apply it, we can't help you, okay? But you have to understand, a publicly traded company would not ask Brandon Cunningham, who's a master pro 10 in the business and $1 million earner in the business, to come train 500, 600, 700 people at one time on the wrong stuff. Okay, you want to get yourself in trouble with the board, you want to get yourself in trouble with the upper echelon of the company, screw up training a virtual training when you got 600, 700 or more people watching. Okay, so there's no need for you to ever give it a second thought. You just go do it. Now, our mentor in our first company, you know, just is as rude and crude and down to earth common sense as you could get. Okay. I mean, but he just said, Bobby, if I'm going to work with you and you're going to work with me, here's the rules. Okay. Well, he was a multimillionaire after being a truck driver, you know, so I certainly wanted to work with him and pick his brain. So he said, here's the rules. I'll never tell you to do anything that don't work. But when I tell you to do it, you're not allowed to question me. You have to do it. And when you do it, then you will learn why you did it. I don't need to explain why to do it. You need to learn why you're doing it. And the only way that you're going to learn why you're doing it is from doing it, and then you'll learn why you're doing it. So basically it was just do it. Okay. Like the Nike thing, just do it. And you'll learn why along the way. And you know what? I don't agree with everything that guy taught me and the way he behaved, and certainly the way he closed up his business and everything. But those were good personal development skills that were learned. Okay. And it taught me and April a lot. Okay. So when you get $1 million earner spending 4 hours teaching on a Saturday virtually, that the company flew in and paid to be there, and you know, you don't need to wonder, you don't need to question, and honestly, you don't even need to think about it. You just need to do it. Just apply what you learned. And then I promise you, because this happened to me for, you know, a lot of years, when I went and did it, it was like, well, that's why you do this. That's the reason. Now I can see why that's the case. Okay. And that is better, because you know what would have happened? If he would have explained to me why, I would have questioned that. And then whatever he said after that, I would have questioned that. And in the meantime, I could have just done it 3 times and learned for myself. So it was, you know, maybe he could have said it nicer, and maybe being the stubborn, thick New Yorker that I was at the time, you know, I may not have listened anyway. Okay. I mean, I certainly had my own opinion on things, and, you know, I'm not saying, so he was just blunt with me. Okay. And he said, you will learn why from doing it, and you will learn quick. Okay. So here's what I'm suggesting. Okay. Whatever Brandon taught, and obviously we were teaching in Orlando, we're using basically the same stuff, but whatever he taught, just go do it. Okay. And I promise you, within 60 to 90 days, you'll know why you did it. And you'll think back to what you learned on Saturday, and you'll be, wow, that was great information. That accelerated my business. That moved me up in rank, or 2 ranks, or whatever it was. And not only that, you will then be able to teach others the same thing. And that's how you speed up your journey in this business. So in regards to that, what I'm saying now is, for the next 48 hours, okay, just focus on getting confirmations, okay? Not invites. Don't be texting people just a message. Don't be texting them just, you know, something that's got the link to it. Have the conversations. Let me tell you what just happened. Okay. This was a birthday message. Okay. This is still going on. My phone is buzzing why this is going on. And I don't know if you guys do birthday messages or not, but you know, April will kill me if I don't do it. Okay. So it's a habit now. I do it. Sometimes I miss a day, and then the next day I do 2 days worth. Okay. But I always wish people happy birthday. Now, do you know, until about a month ago, and I've been doing it for a good year now, okay? But to about a month ago, when I was wishing people happy birthday, you know how it pops up on your notifications and then you just click and their names are there and the comments are there? Do you know, I was doing that. I was wishing, now I had a text message that I was putting in. It was, you know, one was for if it was a man, another one is if it was a woman. Okay, but I was putting it there, so it was ending up on their wall. So I don't know what happened, but it was about a month ago. And something made me ask April. I said, when you're doing the birthday messages, I said, you just type it in there when you do it? She says, no, you got to click on their name and message them. You want that to be an instant message where they get a private message. You don't want to put it on the wall. And I'm like, I just hit myself in the freaking head. I'm saying, what an idiot. For a freaking year, I've been just posting it on their wall, and I should have been instant messaging it. Same text message. I type in the same letters that I use for my text message. The same goes in. Man, the responses have been at least 5 times more getting back to me because I wish someone a happy birthday. Well, it happened today. Okay. So, you know, I think, and my group, I have about 4,000 friends on Facebook now, finally. Okay. It took a while to go from 3,000 to 4,000, but I'm probably 2/3 women, because 75% of the people that are making millions in this business are women. Okay. So I'm either looking to get women in, you know, friends on Facebook or couples. Okay. So, you know, that's kind of, that's who I'm friending. Okay. Now that doesn't mean I don't have a lot of men friends. When you got 4,000, you got 4,000. But I'm saying 2/3 of them are either women or couples, you know, and maybe the other third are men. So I send the message out, and this lady gets back to me and tells me, you know, how nice birthday was. Her kids were home from school, and it's spring break time, you know, on the East Coast anyway. So the kids were home from school. The 2 girls were able to go out to dinner with her and her husband, this, that. And she said, and I'm getting a new dog. And that was like all I needed to hear. Okay. So I said, she said, like, I'm getting another dog, a rescue dog. Okay. And she mentioned rescue and mentioned dog. And I said, what kind of dog are you getting? And she sent me a picture of a Mastiff. She said, our first rescue dog was a Mastiff. Now I'm assuming maybe they either found him a long-term home or he passed. You know, I didn't get into that. But she went from Mastiff to, on Thursday, she's getting a Chihuahua. So I'm like, now there's a spread, okay, from a Mastiff, I don't know, 150, 200-pound Mastiff, okay, to a Chihuahua that maybe weighs 3 pounds. You know, I'm like, wow, that's a change. So all of a sudden we're going back and forth, and she says, I start reading her profile, and she's an author. She writes books. She's a ghostwriter. And she mentioned, she says, I got a really great kids book. I was a ghostwriter on that. It was a fake name and all, because a lot of my stuff is really adult stuff. So she sent me a link. She says, if you have any kids, and I said, well, I got a 6-year-old granddaughter. I said, she just got a dog last year. It'd be great. Long story short, we've been going back and forth all day. She just asked me, she just said, put me in that Facebook group where you got those animal stories. I love to hear how animals were sick and got better and blah, blah, blah. And it was all because, and she's up in New York, okay? And so, you know, that helps that I'm from there, and, you know, but it's amazing the conversation that you could get into with a birthday message when you do it right. I was doing it wrong for a year. At least I was doing it, but I was doing it wrong. Okay. When you do it with instant message instead of on their wall. And it was amazing. Okay. So I share that, where for the next 48 hours, let's invite people to the launch, okay, the right way. And that's, have some dialogue with them, talk to them a little bit, you know, don't just spam them with a text message. Tell them why you think they'd be great. Tell them what they're gonna, you know, what they're gonna see. Tell them how much they're gonna love it. And, you know, create a little desire. Never mention there's a replay. Never mention there's a video. Never mention you'll send them a replay if they don't make it. Treat it as if it's the only one that's ever gonna happen. and you'll get better results. And then we can always send the no-shows the replay, okay? And there's a way to do that, you know, to say it properly, to create some desire. That's when you do if I would you, okay? So if they don't show up on Wednesday, what you do is you just say, hey, I just found out it was taped and there's a replay. If I send it to you, would you watch it? How long would you need to watch it? Because you're going to be so excited. I want to see what you like best about it. So there's a way to address that, okay? But you never, ever get into that, okay, before the event. This is it. There ain't going to be another one. I've never heard about another one. I've just seen it myself. And I'm telling you, you get the right results. So this is a revenue producing activity. So let's treat it like we're going to earn revenue on Wednesday night, because we're going to have 3 or 4 guests on there, and 1 or 2 of them are going to buy something or join. And that's 40% for you. Okay. And when you start teaching your team to do that because you do it, you know, I got to end it now because I'm already a minute over, but I was just talking to Colton Smith about, he wanted to know if April and I would be willing to travel to do LVAs in the future. And I said, we have a little bit of requirements. We have no problem with traveling because there's no kids in the house anymore, but a little bit of advance notice would help, you know, that we've been asked to do a few things over the last year where, you know, we didn't have a lot of notice, and, you know, I'd rather know where I'm going. So maybe I can advertise a little in the area and have some guests of my own in the room because I know in advance where I'm going. Okay. So you know what's happening. You've seen it before. Okay. But remember, your person has never seen it before, and they're going to get as excited about it as the first time you saw it. But you can't give them enough information where they don't need to see it. And you can't give them the excuse to not show up by saying there's a replay. Okay. You got to treat it as, look, this is, you don't want to miss this. I have no idea if it'll be recorded or not. It could be a one and only. You don't want to miss it. And when you do that with excitement, enthusiasm, and passion, okay, people show up for you. Okay. And the more you do it and the more they show up, the better you get at it. And every 2 weeks, you know, we do these about every 2 weeks, at least twice a month, and you'll just get better and better. And imagine teaching your team that. You know, imagine, you know, Cindy gets guest on, and then Cindy's new person gets guest on, and then Cindy's person gets guest on. Do you get it? Okay. And that goes on and on and on. Okay. That's how you end up with dozens, and then hundreds, and then thousands. And then all of a sudden, I don't know where they came from, but they're there. Okay. It starts with duplicating the right behavior yourself. So spend the next 48 hours doing it the right way. I promise you, if you'll invite 10 people the right way, you'll get better results with the 10 if you do it right than you will if you send out 200 text messages, just spammy messages. You'll get better results with the 10 than you do from the 200. Trust me on that. Okay. I'm telling you, I wouldn't ask you to do it. I mean, you know, I'm not trying to get you to fail. I'm trying to get you to build faster. So that's the key. So let's work on that. Please mark your calendars. April's going to train on using the phone and listening skills and all that kind of stuff next week. You definitely don't want to miss that. And look, what is today? The 21st. So we're down to 10, 11 days in the month. So we want to be checking our holding tanks. We want to check our points. We want to see where we are rank wise and where our team is rank wise, because we don't want to miss advancing that way and taking advantage of the double points and double bonuses that are being offered this month too, the doubling up on the bonuses. So anyway, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. I'll get this edited and put in the group as soon as I can. Have a great night, and call us if you need us. Good night. Bye-bye.